And we're live. Hello, everyone. Doing a live from my car. Actually, been quite the long day for me, but we are gonna make this work. I had a rough night last night with like chills and a fever, but I'm doing better now, so. And then we will get started.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Every
I'm
time I get on a
surviving.
live, there's always a delay. So I don't know if my internet is gonna cut out, but hopefully this is clear.
Yeah, you're coming in pretty clear right now. I've had some lives where people are looking pretty glitchy, but you look pretty good right now.
How's it going?
I'm surviving. I feel like ever since this pandemic started, like every single time I show like a tad bit of a symptom of might be COVID, like I have this like small panic attack of, oh my God, I caught it. But I went to the doctors today because I woke up feeling rough and they're like, we don't think it's COVID. And I was like, okay, good.
Oh, thank God. Oh my God. Um, that's scary. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I've been surprised. I haven't gotten sick. I haven't had any symptoms all of last year, which is crazy. Like I get sick at least once, but
It's
thank
because you're
God.
wearing a
Knock on
mask when
wood.
you're
Where's the
in
wood?
public.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been
Awesome.
good.
So I'll let you introduce yourself so people know who you are, and then we can just jump right into a topic.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, everybody. If you don't know me, my name is John. I am a coach. I work with people. We work with the law of attraction to manifest your dream life, to create your reality. So, yeah, I'm also a content creator. Create a lot of fun videos on TikTok and here on Instagram. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk some positivity with y'all.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love your content, and as soon as I started posting that we were going to do a live, I've had lots of people messaging me saying that they love your content. So people are definitely enjoying your positivity that you're putting out there.
Aw, appreciate that. I appreciate it.
So what kind of got you on that track of wanting to do like life coaching and spreading positivity?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of all happened last year, actually, during the pandemic. Like, I had gone through a few awakenings the prior year, and it was clear that that was the path for me. It was just this knowing that I was here to help people, at that time, I didn't know in what capacity and how, but that was what I was called to do. And last year, I lost my job at the beginning of the year because of the pandemic, and the universe was like, we're pushing you into it, pushing you into the deep end. Like it's your time to do this. Like you know what you're doing. You're passionate about personal development and spirituality, and you know that this is your path and your purpose. So it's like it's been me navigating that whole area and trying to figure out how to do it all. But it's been super fun. TikTok has been kind of like the platform that I've used to kind of put myself out there and express myself in this way that I have never been able to express myself. As a kid, I was very like theatrical and like flamboyant. I was singing, dancing, and acting, and that was shut off as soon as I realized that. Oh God, like it's not accepted to be this like little gay boy. Like it's not okay. So that spark was turned off, right? And so it was like that was like the root cause of my personal struggle with depression and anxiety and suicidal ideations was that like suppression of that truth of who I was at the core of my inner being. And last year was just this huge like release and this like ability to kind of remember who that little kid was and to come out as it was like a second coming out because I came out in my early 20s, but it was like a second coming out of this like free version of myself, the person that wants to express himself in this way. So like creating these characters on the videos and just like having a good old time and like being silly and goofy and twirling is like who I am. Like that's what I do in my apartment all day. Like that's one of my favorite healing tools is just like turn on the music and just like stomp down the runway like I'm on the Victoria's Secret fashion show. You know what I mean? So it's just been an amazing healing tool for me. This whole like platform of social media. I'm super grateful for it, and I'm glad that it's being received by people. At first I'm like, oh my God, people are gonna think I'm crazy. They're gonna think I'm weird. They're gonna think I'm, like, what is this guy smoking? Like, are you on drugs? Like, but I've gotten people saying like, are you on shrooms? I'm like, no, I'm not on shrooms.
Yeah,
So
I,
I don't
I
know if I answered your question. I kind of went on a tangent, but
no, that was great. It's funny because we actually have an old computer that we used to save all of our pictures and videos on as kids, and we found it, got it all connected. It was like one of those old ones. And we watched some of the videos that we made as kids. And I continued to do YouTube for a while, so I've been on there. So, but the person I was back then, like the characters we created and the fun that we had doing it, is very different than who I am now. And in 2020, I did see like the growth of TikTok. And the thing that I loved about yours was it was you, like you created original content, and you like went out there, and I love the positivity spin on things that you did. And for a lot, like I wasn't the biggest fan of TikTok, mainly because I speak a lot and TikTok doesn't give me enough space to say what I want to say. But I absolutely love that people were able to use that platform. I think it's amazing that platforms exist now so that people from their own homes can do things like that. I mean, I've been reached out to by tons of different companies, and they just found me on YouTube and Instagram and now Clubhouse. And it's always very interesting, because you do kind of feel crazy when you first start. It's like no one else in my town is doing this. I'm walking around with a camera filming myself, and people are looking at me like I'm crazy. But when you meet your people online, like you realize that you're not crazy, and what you do have to offer the world is exactly what the world's needing.
yeah, I love that. That's amazing. And that takes a lot of courage to show up that way, right? To show up vulnerable and open and showing the world who you are, because there is a sense, especially for gays, I feel like that part of us has been suppressed for so long because we felt like we had to fit in. And so like to come out as this like vulnerable person and just like show everything about your life and what you're doing and who you are, it's like a little scary and intimidating. But that was like an amazing hurdle that I feel like I've crossed, and I still have struggles, I still have fears that come up, and I'm still like, oh my God, should I post this video? It's a little crazy, a little cuckoo, like people are gonna think I'm nuts, but um, it's fun. I'm having fun. I think that that's what we have to remember is like, we got to bring in more play and more fun, right? And not take everything so seriously. That's my goal, is to like just bring in more play and more fun and more joy. Especially right now, I feel like everyone needs more of that. And last year, especially, was like intense. And so just to bring in more positivity and more joy as much as possible, but also honoring the negative emotions and honoring all the struggle too. Like I struggle. Oh my God! Like the last few days even have been like a challenge for me. It's been a lot of old stuff coming up, old limiting beliefs and self-doubt coming up, and just honoring that and really processing it, I think is so important as well, right? It's part of the whole spectrum of the emotions.
Yeah. So I remember when like The Secret came out, when they were talking about the law of attraction, and for me, like I grasped onto it really well. I was like, that makes sense. That I understand what they're saying here. It's a very simplified construct in The Secret. I think that they really simplified everything in that idea. But like when I gave my like the book that I bought to my mom, she was like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like I don't understand it. You can't just pretend to have a happy life and it's just gonna come to you." But for me, like, yes, times get tough. Like rough, everyone's gonna have rough times. But I have realized that when I intentionally like sought after positivity and the life that I wanted for myself, I did start to bring that into myself. So when it comes to you working with clients, I know that I work with clients as well. When it comes to their doubt in the ability of the law of attraction, like what's something that you tell them to kind of get them over that hurdle? Because I feel like that's usually the first hurdle for people to understand that a lot of it has to do with up here first before anything around them is going to start changing.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same too. I saw The Secret once back in what was it, 2007, and I was like, all right, cool. I want to make this amount of money, done. And I that's all I did. I was like, and then when it didn't happen, I was like, this is bullshit. Like this doesn't work. What are you talking about? And then it came up again. Like I saw some videos on YouTube a couple years after that, and it was like I was like, okay, I'll try this again. And then it didn't happen again. I'm like, this is complete like bogus. Like, what is this shit? And then it came up again. And so I'm like, okay, I'll give this a third try. And the third try really stuck with me because I was at the place where I was awakened spiritually and I was open to these ideas and I was more conscious and aware. So coming at it from that state and knowing that there's a higher power and being able to trust and surrender to that higher power was crucial in that whole law of attraction manifestation process. But when it comes to people who maybe are doubting it or are having some like limiting beliefs coming up saying, oh no, this doesn't work or whatever, I just have them remember, look back on everything that they have manifested so far. Like often we think about when is it going to come? Like, how is it going to come? Like, I feel like I've been doing the work. Like, I don't get it. Where's the manifestation? But it's like, okay, look at all the things you have manifested. Like every thought, every emotion, every person you come in contact with, every job, every amount of money you've attracted or whatever, like you've manifested pretty much everything in your life. So remembering to go back to all of those like moments and acknowledge those, and it just kind of encourages you to keep going. And it's this whole like paradox of working with the law of attraction. It's like when you completely detach from what you're wanting and you let go and you surrender and you trust, that's when it comes in, right? We think that we're going to be happier when we're rich, when we're happy, when we're successful or have the soulmate. But yeah, it's going to feel good for a little bit. But if that's where we're seeking our happiness and our validation, it's going to last for just a short amount of time. And then we're going to be looking for the next thing to fill the void. So I tell them, you know what, like you really can find that emotion you're looking for right here in the present moment and learn to appreciate the present because your life is only ever comprised of present moment after present moment after present moment, right? We're often like dwelling on the past or thinking about the future. And it's like, no, you're only ever in the present. So it's learning to detach and let go and surrender is one of the biggest components to it all.
Yeah, that's it's funny because like a lot of the things they talk about like vision boards and creating stuff like that. And when I was little, this is before I came out of the closet, back when I was still very much not accepting of myself, I had the biggest crush on this guy from O Town. I'm not sure if you know the band O Town, but I had the biggest crush on him. Like I literally when I created a vision board when I was little, I was like, I put him there and I was like, my friend. In my head, I was like, a significant other. But like, I stuck him on my board and I was just like, one day he's going to be my friend. And that's what I kept telling people. And this year, him and I became friends. And
Oh my
he is
God.
actually now my personal trainer, which to me like that kind of like it's years and years later. Like I was 13 when that happened, and now I'm 32. But it's just weird that something like that actually happened, and it's not like I focused from the age of 13 until now for us to be friends. But at that time, I was just so focused on it. And yeah, there was plenty of other things that I looked at in life and I was like, I really want this. And I got it. It doesn't necessarily mean that once I got it, I was happy. I had to realize that happiness was something that was already in me. I didn't need those other things. Those are things that would be great additions to the self love that I already have for myself. And it was crazy because once I started the journey of self love, so instead of seeking it from other things like, oh, the perfect job, the perfect significant other, the perfect friends, uh, I started to dig down deep and ask myself, like, what really made me happy? And once I got onto that journey, that's when all of the things that I had put on vision boards started falling into my life. And I was like, you know what? Like maybe I figured this thing out. And I feel like once you get to that moment and start feeling that, you just want to share it with everybody. You want everyone else to start getting that because once you start to feel that, it's such an amazing feeling you don't want to keep it to yourself.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Wow, amazing. I heard of the band O-Town. I can't put faces to the name of the band, but that's amazing. What, you were 13 when you had it up on your, wow,
Yeah,
that's incredible.
it's
So you
very
do
different.
vision boards? Like you have a physical vision board or do you do digital vision
Yeah.
board? Okay.
Yeah, so when I was little, I would have them like printed off of like with my dad's printing machine in his office. But like now I send them off to like the bigger posters to get them printed off. And one of them I actually did like cut the corner off because I had a picture of me and a significant other that didn't make the cut. So like the boards kind of got a little sliver cut out of it. But I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna put two people there, just like silhouettes of two guys, because you know what? There's not a specific person that's like perfect for me. I think that that right person will come. I just don't focus too hard on the who and focus on what you want that like relationship to look like. And I think that that will manifest itself in its own time.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the video, but I had like I reached out to a psychic for a soulmate drawing just for funsies. I was like, finally $20. Like let's just see what she comes up with. And she sends me a photo of myself and I'm like, what? This is crazy. And then I was like, okay, you know what, universe, like this is just a lesson to like remember I need to love myself a little bit more. Okay. And that I'm gonna find that fulfillment within inside myself. I think it was Joe Dispenza. I think he said something. Do you know Joe Dispenza?
That name sounds really familiar.
Yeah, he wrote something. What did he say about soulmates? He said, write down a list of all of the qualities you want to find in a soulmate, physical qualities, non-physical qualities, how you're going to feel, and then take the non-physical qualities and then become that, right? Embody those qualities because we attract a match to what we are. So if we become what we seek, then bam, it manifests. So I love that.
Yeah. I
Oh, there's
I
my
with
sister. She's in the thing.
with when it comes to relationships for me, I always tell people because I think that a lot of people before they're in a relationship, they spend a lot of time being lonely or sad, and wishing that they had a relationship. And for me, I always tell people that I work with, you should be manifesting the life that you want to have with that partner. So if in your head the perfect like partner is you guys cook dinner every night, are you cooking dinner now? If you guys want to go for a walk in a park, are you going for a walk in the park now? Those types of things you have to manifest by doing now, and then that significant other will pop into existence. I think that too often people are looking for them on an app, which I think is very superficial. It's hard to match. Like, yes, people do match people there, but I mean, I think that's almost luck of the draw, because you're swiping left and right based upon appearance, and that doesn't really find you a soulmate. I wish that dating apps were a little bit deeper when it comes to matching people, but I would love to like run into someone. I've met some pretty amazing people on hiking trails. Unfortunately, not very many of them have been gay, but I have met people that have become lifelong friends from doing the things that I love and meeting people that were doing the same thing versus typing in "I love hiking" on a dating app and trying to find people. I almost feel like people say that to look cool on dating apps these days because some people I've gone on dates with, like you could tell is their first time hiking.
Yeah.
But I think that it's important to be doing everything that you already want that relationship to have because if you're doing that, then you're going to run into other people that are doing the same thing. Versus, I think if you're desperately seeking a partner, you're going to find someone else who desperately seeking someone, and you overlook all the things that are wrong because you just want a partner so bad that you don't care that all the signs say this isn't going to be the long-term relationship for you because both of you just want it so bad. And I think that it requires a little bit more than wanting a relationship to make a relationship work.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I totally agree with that. If you're doing things you love to do, right, you're following your bliss and your passions, you're gonna find people that are doing similar things. I've met a lot of good friends on hiking trails as well. So that's amazing. What was your experience like last year during the pandemic in terms of dating? Or like
Um,
going, did you pull up the app? Did you try it out?
yeah, I mean, the apps are great. I feel like most of them are like, hey, what's up? And then it's just like they disappear after that. It's just like, it's so hard to have conversations. I feel like I was in a clubhouse room the other day and they were actually talking about dating apps. And they were talking about how dating apps are created to be addictive. So they're created to make you want to get on the app. And I don't feel like they're created with the intention of helping you find your partner. They just want you to keep swiping left and right and paying for those extra swipes or whatever they you pay for. And
Yeah.
I personally, I if I'm on a dating app, I try to get us off the dating app as quickly as possible, chatting like through text or Snapchat or something that's a little bit more personable because I feel like if I'm on the app with them, they probably have 50 other matches as well, and they're going in between all of us talking, and I just try to make it more personal. Uh, FaceTime is always good, phone calls. I mean, Clubhouse has reminded me that voice is so nice. So I've been having a lot of phone calls with people, and I feel like that's a great way to kind of connect with people again.
That's amazing. I just recently joined a clubhouse room last week was my first week and I love it. It can also be addicting though. I found myself like, oh, this room sounds fun. This room, I want to go in here. And then I'm like 2 hours later, I'm like, what did I just spend 2 hours doing? But it was all like valuable teaching, right? So you spent a lot of time on there on Clubhouse?
Very much
Okay.
so. I've been like moderating rooms, which honestly that's why I started these lives on Instagram was because I wanted to have more meaningful conversations with people, and I wanted conversations to inspire other people to have more meaningful conversations. And I just feel like Clubhouse created a platform for exactly that. And now there's just people from all over the world contributing to like valuable conversations. Of course, there's some rooms that are just like you got to leave. It's very toxic and triggering in a lot of different ways. But I think when the moderators intentionally keep the conversations going in a good way, there's a lot of really good rooms in there.
Do you host rooms at all? Can we find you
Yeah.
hosting rooms? Okay. What kind of rooms
Uh,
do you host there?
so I started a self-love club. So every week I open on Mondays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do so this past week was relationships and self-love. So we talked about like how you deal with like your self-love because for me I developed a lot of self-love for myself being single, but then when you jump into a relationship it's a whole new self-love for yourself because now you have to show your self-love but show someone else and balance. So we talked about that. The week before, we talked about chasing your passions with self-love. So I've really enjoyed that topic. I feel like the self-love club kind of keeps it in an area where everyone can be positive. It doesn't really get too negative. And then I created an LGBTQIA plus content creators for change club where we just talk about being LGBT content creators and how we want to use our platforms to bring positive change to the community. And we just throw around ideas of how we can, as content creators, collab with each other, learn from each other, and help grow our community in a way that will reflect our community in a positive way for the rest of the world. And those conversations have been beautiful. That it gets a little bit more tricky in LGBT rooms just because you want everyone to be heard and you want everyone to feel like they've been represented in the panel. So finding someone from each background as well as each race in each like sexuality, like I think that it gets a little bit heavy sometimes just because you want everyone to feel represented, but sometimes it's hard to find one person from everything that's available to speak and willing to speak.
That's amazing. So we can find your self-love club on Mondays at 11. Is that right? Okay. And then the other, it's all on your Instagram. We can check it out.
Yep,
Okay.
that's definitely.
Sign me up. What has been
It's a
like
lot of fun.
your, what's that?
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that app. I just am like, oh, I have to give myself like an allotted time, or else I'm going to be on there for hours.
Yeah.
Um, what is your journey? What has been your journey? What's led you to this place where you're speaking out and creating this platform and having these conversations and uplifting people?
So I personally, like, I've been through a lot of life struggles and I've had to overcome a lot of them by myself, as well as overcoming them with the help of other people. And I just know that when I was struggling, when I was trying to stand back up, when the world was pushing me down, that the messages that I was hearing weren't very positive and there weren't very many good role models standing up saying, hey, you can do this. And I was just like, the world needs more of it. I went to college for architecture, but I was a freshman counselor and I also worked with international students. And then when I left and started working, I started doing mentorships with helping new people come into the business that we worked for. And I was looking at all of that and I was like, what do I love about this type of work? What did I love about college? What did I love about high school? And it was really just watching and helping people grow into the people I know that they're capable of being. So my greatest pleasure comes from helping other people. Like when I see someone else have that aha moment and finally like start moving towards their dreams, like I want to do everything that I can to keep adding energy to that because I know that once I got to that point and people started pushing me, like it was really helpful. And there's just been so many people that I watch just give up on things that like when they were doing it, you could just see a light. When they talked about it, there was just like so much passion and energy behind it. And then I watched them taking like their 9 to 5 jobs and how draining it was on them. And I'm like, no, we're losing you. Come back. So just, I, because I'm now at the age point where a lot of my friends are having kids, they're settling down, they're getting houses, getting married. And it's almost like society has told them that this is what they need to be doing. And they're literally draining all of their life energy into creating a life that society has told them is acceptable and what they should be doing. And I'm just like, no, don't do it. It's a trap.
It's
You
a
need to
trap. Don't
you need
fall
to do
for
what's
it.
bringing you passion. Like, do you get up and get excited about your life, or are you like dreading the next day? So I've just been trying to instill that back into society and tell people like there is no certain roadmap of where you need to go. And it's funny because I almost feel like me being gay taught me that I had to break away from the norm to survive, where other people are trying so hard to be normal. I broke away from that and really found my moment of, wow, I really love doing this. This is what I want to do. And it's sad to watch other people accept the norm and just like kill their hearts. But it's been a journey and I've been super excited. There's some people that don't want to hear it. Uh, I can throw as much positivity and help in their direction, and they're just like, no, that's not how life works. I'm like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, you did your part. They're
Yeah,
just they weren't ready to receive. I
yeah,
I totally agree with that. For the longest time, like that was part of my depression was feeling lost and like I didn't have purpose or direction or I wasn't doing something I was passionate about. And I didn't even know what I was passionate about at that time. And that's what I love that you do is you love inspiring people to find that within themselves and that lights me up and that gets me excited when I see people finding their passion because I know what it's like to not feel like you're fulfilling that. Um, so yeah, I mean that's what I tell my clients too is like, well, follow your bliss, like your emotions, your inner compass, like follow that guidance system, that intuition. It's there for a reason, right? Um, it's hard though when we've been so conditioned to believe that we have to work in this certain way and live this certain type of lifestyle. So it's really just like reconditioning and reprogramming, reframing all those beliefs that we've been conditioned to believe, right? I think a lot of it has to do with our belief system. Like that's like a big part of my work is reprogramming and rewiring that software, right? Like a lot of us were working off of Windows 98, right? And we got to upgrade the software, delete the viruses, right? Upgrade to whatever it is, iOS 15, wherever we're at. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, that purpose component, finding that that drive, whatever it is that lights you up, that sets your soul on fire, is so important to chase after, you know.
Yeah. I think that we all, there's a puzzle piece that we're all holding, and there's a spot for us to stick our puzzle piece and it really have a meaningful placement. Like it's supposed to be there. And I think that too many people look at someone else's life and they're like, this is what I have to do. And I always tell people, I'm like, even if you are a doctor, even if you are a lawyer, even if you're a politician, like there, that's one small piece of who you are, and everything else about you becomes that part as well. So for me, if I was a doctor, I would be an LGBTQIA plus doctor. So that would make me unique and different to all the heterosexual doctors out there. And I think that too many people put so much focus on one small piece about themselves, and they don't realize that the things that make them unique or very different from their partners that are standing next to them is what makes them special, what makes the reason that they're there so important. Because like we've been talking in a lot of the clubhouse rooms about how to make change for like the trans community and people in the black community. And it was all like we have to get people into leadership positions, and we have to push people into power that should be in power, that are all inclusive of everyone. And I think that the sad part is a lot of people don't see their own power. There's so many people that are in positions of power that don't use it to create any change because they don't see themselves as a person of power. And I mean, every single person, I tell people all the time, even if you just have 2 followers on your social media, that's 2 people that are following you that are influenced by whatever you post on your social media. And I think that it's important to go through life with the intentions of, what do I want the world to look like after I leave? Like what do I have the power to change while I'm still here? And I think that if more people could get into that mindset and realize that they have the power of influence, even if it's walking into a grocery store in a t-shirt that says like Black Lives Matter, like that still makes an impact when you go out into the world. And I think that so many people just look at themselves as like the bystander or the audience member, when we all play major roles when we walk out of our like front doors. Like someone
Yeah.
is looking at us, someone's noticing what we're doing. And for me, like my intention is to make sure all my movements are like moving everyone that I love and care for like forward in life. And I just hope that I can inspire more people to realize that they've got power to keep making that change. Like it can't just be me, it can't just be you. Like everyone's got to do it. Like it's a movement that requires every puzzle piece to get this puzzle like completed.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, and it's like that's what my intention when I put something out is like if I could just impact one person, I did my job, right? If I can influence one person in a positive direction or create some aha moment or make somebody smile or feel joy or feel good, like job done, you know? I love that though, and I think that's important to remember is like, yeah, we do have, no matter how many followers you have or whatever it is, you have the ability and the power to create positive impact and change, whether it's on a global scale or in your community or in your family or whatever it may be. But like, yeah, you do have that limitless, infinite, divine power, you know? Beautiful.
And I mean,
I
social
need,
media has made it so easy for us to share our opinions. And I think that lately people seem to be putting so much focus on things that might be negative. And I'm just like, hey, it's a double-ended sword, but let's flip it around and actually use it to like make some positive change. Like social media has to be used to create positive change. And I mean, it's for social media, it's all about algorithms. And unfortunately, not a lot of people understand that, but it's all about what you share. So clicking that share button, clicking the little banner underneath the pictures to flag the picture, sharing it through messages, like all those small little things are interpreted into the algorithm of what Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, what they promote on their like main frame for new users to find. And I was just like, it's important to see people, and if there's someone that you're just like, yes, that person is a great person, everyone needs to know who they are, like those simple little clicks that you do, like that makes all the difference for getting those voices where they need to get. But right these days, people, anything that they hate or someone who's just like prejudiced or saying something hateful, people share that, and they're like, "Look at this idiot," share. "Look at this dumb message," share, and they're sharing
Mm,
that. So that becomes what's in the algorithm now, and all these good people's messages are like falling down because only thing that's getting shared are all these hate messages. So people have to be aware of
wow.
that and intentionally share things that promote positivity and self-love into the world.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's so true. Wow. So amplifying those positive voices, right? Those underrepresented voices and making sure that those are the things that we're sharing and liking and interacting with and kind of just not even acknowledging the stuff that doesn't really resonate with us or that doesn't make us feel good, right? Amen to
Yep.
that. Okay. I love it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's all about the law of attraction. Like if you want more positive, then you have to like make sure it's being put out.
yeah, I agree with that. I always tell myself like continue to give more, right? And you'll receive more. The more you give, the more you receive. And what is the impact I want to create? What value do I want to provide people with when I'm creating stuff? And yeah, I think that's so important. Um, I'm excited to listen to one of your Clubhouse. What do you call it? A room? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, the Clubhouse room. Yeah. I love it. I want to get more into it and start a room. I'm just like, oh my God, between Instagram and TikTok, there's a lot going on. There's so many things to do, and I'm like, a bit overwhelmed. But I think it's a really beautiful platform. From the time I have spent on it, I've learned so much and I've connected with some amazing people. And yeah, so I'm excited to hear what you're doing. So in terms of self-love, like what I always love hearing about different like tools that people can provide to like find more self-love or to feel more self-love. What do you use or what do you share with people? Different
For
modalities or
for me
methods, tools.
personally, I believe that every single person you connect with unlocks another part of yourself. I think that we literally have like so many compartments within ourselves that are locked to us because we lack that perception of the world. And I honestly believe in like the connection of people. So every person that's got a different background than me, I intentionally try to connect with and learn from, because every piece of information I gain from that interaction is something that unlocks a new part of myself. And the more I've learned about myself and about the world that we live in, the more I realize that I am capable of doing things I never thought I was capable of. And for me, helping people is like my superpower. So unlocking new compartments within myself is just another place that I can open up and share to the world. And for me, like self-love has been the journey of unlocking each of those parts of myself and just learning more about everyone around me, because the friend I talked to last week on Clubhouse opens up a compartment in me that I can now share with someone that I met in this week's Clubhouse. And it's all about just understanding the world as a whole. I love Clubhouse just because now I'm meeting people like in the UK, in Russia, in Australia, like in Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, uh, and now we've got people from Ghana coming in and sharing their experience of being LGBT in Ghana, which is scary right now. But it's such an amazing thing to be able to connect with other creatives, because I mean that unlocks a whole new part of me as well. I think that I'm naturally creative. That's how I share myself to the world. And meeting new people, it just like sparks that fire back in me to go back out there and do it again. And I mean, these Instagram lives, like, I had no idea that they would make it. I mean, this is my 58th episode as an
Wow.
Instagram live, and it honestly like sparks this like excitement inside of me. One, to see like all the comments. I just absolutely love when people join. I absolutely love the connections I made through this. But I just love that it's like an hour of just pure positive energy that is meant to help people. And there's been people that talk about like toxic positivity, and I'm just like, that's just like, it's true. You can be, you can ignore everything else, like the bad feelings, the hurt feelings, and pretend to be happy, and that can be very toxic, because you have to connect with yourself fully to be
Hmm.
able to claim that you have self-love. You have to love all of it and understand that it all has to exist for you to be a person. So I've just really enjoyed meeting and getting to know all the people that I've gotten to know. I mean, since I've become a creator, I would say that I've connected with so many people that are more me, like my tribe, than I ever did when I kept my voice silent, because now people know who I am. And I also think that pictures can only go so far. I think people look and they're like, oh, another pretty boy. And I feel like the videos and content and the clubhouse rooms where we can speak shows people that I actually do have a heart. I actually do try to have a brain. Like I try to like grow that as often as possible as well. But I just love connecting with people. I think that that's a superpower all in itself.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I've also found the same journey. It's like when I create videos and I show up in that way where I'm expressing myself and speaking my truth and telling my story, you connect with people on a different level than just like a superficial photo of yourself, right? And it's like that is so impactful because that inspires other people to want to show up and speak their truth and live their purpose, right? And I think about my journey and all the people that have been influential in my whole healing journey, people I've watched on YouTube and Instagram or read books of these like spiritual gurus or whatever. And now that I've gotten to a place where I can show up in a way where I do feel like, the healing journey never ends. I'm still healing a lot of things, but I'm at a place where I do feel mostly higher vibrational and I can show up more positively. Like I feel like I gotta give back in a way, right? I feel like responsible to give back what I have been given from those people. And yeah, it's just in it, like you said, it lights me up. People are always like, don't you get drained? Don't you get tired from like giving so much? And I'm like, yes, but it also lights me up and it fills my cup to give and see people living their truth and shining their light and figuring out who they are and stepping into their place of power and purpose. Like that is that like I'm like, fuck yes, let's go. It gets me riled up. Like I get so excited because we spend so many years just like doubting ourselves and suppressing our truth and suppressing our light, and to finally like allow ourselves to just break free and allow that light to shine. It's so beautiful to see that, and I'm like so grateful to be able to like be in this space and to connect with you and everybody else. And like you said, the online space has been monumental in my journey as well, because it's like I maybe wouldn't have connected with this many amazing people had I not put this work out or took the inspired action to do so. And you find your tribe that way, right? You do find your tribe. And that's a whole part of the law of attraction, is that inspired action component, right? We can sit on our couch and think like, all right, I set the intention, like universe, deliver it to me. But it's really about that inspired action that you take to show up. And the universe is like, all right, now I'm going to deliver to you your tribe, and you're going to connect with other people, and that's going to open up different doors and different opportunities, etc. So yeah, it's scary though, right? Was it scary for you? Like for anybody who's watching that is like maybe hesitant to take action, right? It's kind of a scary thing, right? What can you talk a little bit about that? How you overcame taking
Yeah.
the action to like dive in?
I feel like when it comes to putting out vulnerable parts of yourself to the world, it's always like that moment of, oh my gosh, I hope the world still loves me after I do this, because I think that I stand behind everything that I say. I've watched older videos that I've posted on YouTube, and I'm like, yeah, I still stand behind what I said there. Um, I think that, so for me, I became a YouTuber on accident. I shared my coming out story on YouTube, thinking it was just going to be shared to Facebook with the link, not knowing YouTube was a public platform in 2009, back when YouTube had just started. So that video wasn't scary to post on YouTube at first because I didn't know I was sharing it with the world. But all my other vulnerable moments, I definitely, there was some that I've recorded and held off posting because I didn't know if I was ready to share that moment with the world. But after I've done it, like it's just fueled my flame for wanting to continue to do it because I mean, now I'm getting reached out to by people with podcasts that want me to speak on their podcasts and I I absolutely love it because one, I'm reaching a new audience and I know that I bring a unique story that for me, my followers will follow it and understand it well, but when I reach out into new audiences, like when I step into the world of the straights and share my LGBT story, where those people aren't looking for LGBT content creators, but when someone lets me come into their platform and speak about my story, I think that that's an amazing thing, and it is scary. You don't know if it's going to be received well. I mean, I've been doing speeches at churches, which is really scary for me because I have had very negative experiences with the Christian people. But I do have a Christian background, and I looked at where does the LGBT community face most of its challenges, and for me, I saw the religious aspect of it. That's the religion is usually where people fall back on when they're saying that gay is wrong. So I decided to put myself in situations where I was having conversations because as a 32-year-old, I'm much better at answering those and articulating an answer than maybe a 10-year-old would be when they're trying to come out to their family. So I figured that if I could put myself in places where people who won't hear my messages on the internet because they're not looking for me, I'm going to put myself in their spaces and tell them a story that hopefully maybe will plant a seed, if not open their minds to a different perspective of things. Because I think people are scared of what they don't know. And if I can give them a face for the LGBT community so that we're not just a stereotype in their head, then it's worth the scare and the fear that comes along with it. And like you said, like if it opens one person up, like that's one more ally for the LGBT community that made it worth it. It's not always easy, and I will say like I get butterflies every single time I stand in front of a large crowd, and like my LGBT people, like you see hearts and stuff flying up, and they're like loving my stuff. When I stand in front of a Christian group, I'm standing there and like
Cricket.
everyone's just like cold stone staring at me, and I'm just like, well, here we go. We're about to educate you on something you don't want to know anything about, but here we go.
Yeah. Oh my God. But it's so important to plant those little seeds, right? And I think that's amazing. You're on these podcasts now, and like maybe somebody who would have never looked into like learning about gay culture, LGBTQ plus have are hearing it and hearing the story and the perspective, and they're seeing it from somebody, right? Not just the overall like idea of what it is, but they're having a personal experience with you. That's so important. Yeah, in terms of like showing up vulnerably online for anybody who's like hesitant, it's like there's each of us has a unique story to tell, I feel like. And we think often, oh, there's somebody else doing this already. Like, how am I gonna contribute? How am I gonna like add value to somebody when somebody else is doing it? But it's like your energy and your story is so unique to you. Like nobody's walked your path, right? Nobody's walked in your exact shoes and faced the things you've faced and experienced the things you've experienced. And so it's so important to tell your story. And there are going to be people that resonate with it. There's going to be some that don't resonate with it, right? But those people can go away. It's okay. But you'll find your tribe, and you'll find the people that do click with your story.
Yeah. And I mean,
Ooh.
since I've been vulnerable, like the people that have come into my life are so much better than the ones that were around me when I was projecting this fake image to the world of who I was. Like the people that are in my life right now, because I project such a true image of myself with all the vulnerabilities attached to it, like the people that are around me now are like people that I trust, and when they say that they love me, like I know it's a real love because I've shared all my flaws, I've shared my vulnerabilities, and they still say that they love me for it. Whereas before, I used to hide a lot of that. And when people said it, I felt inside, I was like, well, if they really knew everything about me, they wouldn't be saying this. And it's nice to live in a like place where that self-doubt doesn't exist. When someone says they love me, I feel like that's a true statement versus a statement that would change if I were to start sharing more about myself. And I mean, it's an amazing feeling to be at that point in your life where people are following you, people are like loving your content because of your authenticity instead of you projecting a fakeness onto the world so people like you. And I think that that's an important lesson for a lot of people to learn. Like, once you're your authentic self, even though it's scary to be judged for it, the real people come into your life once you can do that.
100%. And yeah, it's like acknowledging and accepting, yeah, I'm probably going to get judged, right? It might happen. It's probably going to happen, especially for the people pleasers out there. Like, I'm a recovering people pleaser for sure. And I'm always like walking on eggshells, making sure everyone's happy, making sure I don't ruffle any feathers. And that gets exhausting, right? That gets exhausting after a while. And so it's like just knowing and accepting and embracing the fact that, yeah, there's going to be people that don't like what you do. There's going to be people that don't resonate with you. And that's okay, right? You're not here for everybody. You're not here to be everybody's best friend and everyone's going to like you. You know what I mean? Like, the people that do resonate with you and resonate with your energy and your message are going to find you, and the ones that don't will drop off, and that's okay. There's a different group for them, right? So that's been a
Yeah.
big challenge for me too, is like letting go of that like need to like make everybody like me. I just want people to like me. I'm like, no, fuck that. Like, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. It's been years of people please, like, oh, but it's still something I work on every day. It's something I face every day. It's this freaking, especially with like social media, right? It's like it's driven by like likes and comments and da 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 da, and so it's easy to get sucked back into like, well, I just want to make sure people like this, but then you got to remember like, why am I showing? What's the why? Like, why am I showing up, and how do I show up in a way that is good to me and makes me feel good about what I'm doing? You know,
Yeah.
I'm doing
And
this.
I,
Yeah, it's like the why is so important. Like, why am I doing this again? First and foremost, it should be from a place of like, oh, I'm doing this for fun because I enjoy this. Like you said, like I enjoy helping people and showing up in that way. And also, am I creating positive impact and change by what I'm putting out there into the world?
yeah. I
So,
see that Mike
any people
asked here.
pleasers in here? Oh, we got a couple people pleasers. Becky's in there.
I see Mike
There's been
said,
so
do
many
you
amazing
think that,
comments. We should we answer any of them?
yeah, that's what I was looking at. I saw Mike said, do you think there's a time that you hold your story and allow the person you talking to get theirs out first so they don't compare themselves to you? I personally, in that, I feel like you have to be really careful with the judgmental statements you make in your conversation because you don't know someone's background, you don't know that their life story. And I've been around people where I know both friends' stories, and one of my friends is saying something really judgmental that I know is attacking to this person's story. And I think that for me personally, like, I try not to have judgmental statements in my conversations. I try not to say things that condemn other people, no matter who they are, because I don't know people's circumstances. And I think that it's important to realize that, like, you can say something judgmental and be thinking about someone else that's not standing in front of you, not knowing that that statement applies to this person that's standing right in front of you. I A conversation that was had was like an abortion, like that's a really heavy topic, and my friend was being very, very judgmental with his statement, not knowing that the girl standing right beside me a year before had dealt with that. And to me, like, statements like that just don't need to exist. Like, every circumstance is different. Like, it doesn't matter what your opinion is in that you don't understand their circumstances. To make a broad judgment statement is dangerous, and then you can try to recover from it if someone was brave enough to be like, well, I actually did that. But I just try to remove all judgment statements out. Like, I mean, people talk about like the people who have OnlyFans, and I'm like, well, I have tons of friends that have OnlyFans accounts. I've done lives with people who have OnlyFans accounts. Like, they're making money, and if they love themselves at the end of the day, like, I don't see any reason to judge them for it. And people were like, why would you, like, you call yourself a Christian? And I'm like, yeah. And by Christian, I mean, I love everybody. Like, I think that God wants us to show love to everyone. Like, I think that that's the main message I took away from that religion. And I think that it's dangerous when you start to be judgmental when you don't realize, because I just posted, I think it's off my story now, but it said why you shouldn't make those types of statements. And it was like a person's life. And then it was like the amount that you know about them. And it's just dangerous to make judgmental statements. Because I mean, there's been times where people have said stuff to me and I was just like, yep, they're not my friend anymore. Like, they, that hurt. That felt like a knife to the heart, and they didn't even know that they had done it. But they told their truth. They were judgmental about it, but now I feel like I can't be myself around them because that's how they felt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, what do I want them to judge me for my beliefs and what I do? Like, no. So why am I going to judge them for it? You know? It's like, I feel like there's so much, I think one of the biggest things we need to heal in our society is this shame, the shame that we have about things, right? But when we can like drop that wall and just like hold space for each other and like honor each other's story and whatever everyone's doing, it's like it feels so like it's like a release. And we all carry shame, right? We all carry guilt and shame about things we do. And so like judging that just like amplifies that shame. And I think that the more we can break down that wall and just allow each other to be who they are and accept each other for that, know we're all on different journeys, like we're all on different paths and we all have different stories and backgrounds. Like, oh, what an amazing world that would be, right? Like a shameless world.
Yeah. I
Can we
mean,
just drop the shame?
a lot of people are judgmental because they're very judgmental of themselves as well. Like, I personally don't believe a happy person would ever go out and make someone else feel bad about themselves. So a lot of times when I see the hate comments under my stuff, I feel sorry for them. I delete the comments because I don't agree with hate on the internet. I don't let it exist in my platforms. But I, I I try not to engage back in a hateful manner because I think that they're probably hurting. Because personally, since I've found self-love, like, there's not 1 ounce of me that would ever negatively do something to someone else. So for me, when I see those types of things, I feel bad for those people, and I just wonder what in their life has made them feel so bad that they would feel like going onto the internet and attacking a stranger.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The hate comments, they're tough. And it's like when you first start getting them, you're like, oh my God, this sucks. Like this hurts. It does. Like no matter who you are, it does hurt to have those comments come up. And that's been healing for me too, is like facing the hate and being like, okay, pause. What's coming up inside of me that still needs to be healed? Why am I reacting in this way? Like stepping outside and being like, okay, looking at it from a different perspective. Yeah. Seeing like where they're coming from. Like what hurt people, right? That phrase. And that's so true. Are we gonna get cut off here?
Yeah, it says we've got 1 minute and 11 seconds, 10, 9, 8. So I
111.
just want to say thank you so much for doing this. I have loved everything that you've been doing online. I want you to keep doing that, and hopefully we can do something like this again in the future.
Yes, yes, I totally agree, and I love what you're doing as well with your platform. Thank you for spreading light and positivity in this world. We need more of it, and I definitely want to join one of your clubhouse rooms. I think that would be so much fun.
Yeah,
So thank you for for sharing this space with me.
yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing you in a clubhouse room, and I will let you go so you can enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm gonna head
Alrighty,
home.
all right. See ya. Thanks everybody.
Bye.
Bye.